We started working with creative media in 2019 through a research that was going on, and we were very fortunate to be one of the networks to work with creative media. And at this time when creative media came to us, we were about 2.5 years into operations here in Kenya. We had a large number of network members who included more than 2,000 micro, small, and medium enterprises who were cutting across sectors. So we are sector agnostic in our work, and we had other corporate members. Being quite a lean team of about 10 to 15 members, and having the role of engaging these members, making sure that their needs within the network are met. We were not very effective at all. Firstly, we did not understand the needs, the very unique needs of any of these member groups. So, of course, in effect, every intervention that we came up with was largely based on our own thinking rather than our understanding of their needs. So many of the interventions ended up being ineffective. As you imagine, we were not able to engage a large number of that group. So we had largely dissatisfied members who joined for one purpose that we did not understand, and therefore the purpose was not being met. Secondly, was maybe not being engaged at all, and we had a struggle being in a mindset of a service provider where we wanted to deliver or meet the needs of each of these members, delivering it by ourselves, and that was not working. So that was before the network's approach. So we were caught between a place where we had a desire and a need to grow our network, but we already were not able to engage at all with the ones that we already had, and the ones that we were able to engage did not find our interventions effective, and therefore our mission, of course, was at a high risk. That is when we met creative media. That is the situation we were at 2019. It was 2 years, and of course, getting ready for takeoff or growth was a point of transition, a point that we were desiring to make this transition into effectiveness, that we came across the network's approach and creative media. It was amazing because immediately within that first year, we were able to see very early wins. We progressed from being a sole provider of our network to really mapping out who are our network members, getting to understand them in terms of why are they on the network, what can they bring into the network as a strength or resource, and what are they desiring to gain from the network. So we started seeing already our mind shifting from seeing ourselves as a sole almost value provider and service provider to being a member of the network. We stepped out. I can almost visualize the illustration that we drew out, where if you had a star and all the points of a star was a different group of members, and we were sitting right in the middle of the stars in Western Africa, we stepped out and became one of the points that will bring brilliance to the star, but right in the middle was the mission. So immediately we started even getting better value of partnerships and memberships because we now were driven by our mission. Engagement deepened and grew. We used to have about 10 convenings in a year, which was quite a stretch because every convening was from the point of view of Invest in Africa. And already within that first year of beginning to shift and transition to the network's approach, we were able to hold over 50 engagements. And what did we see? Increased member satisfaction. We could see more testimonials, storytelling. We started seeing a bit of referral, members reaching out to us, and all members started getting a better understanding of the IIA network, of our mission. We started realigning. Now, one of the outcomes that we did not anticipate, but that was very clear at that time, is that we saw a shift in retention because there was better alignment. Those who were aligned to our mission stayed. We had some exits, and then we had quite an influx of new members who were now better understanding where the network was and therefore referred by our members. We had others now that were seeing our work with better clarity. I would say even from the point of view of Invest in Africa, it became more clear what each of these members can be or do within the network in terms of value that they bring into the network. That was just year one. And that then already captured our hearts, and our mindset started shifting. And what we were desiring in terms of growth and better satisfaction, because our values have always been the same, that we value people, that we want to be transparent, that we want to have integrity for our mission, for our work. All of a sudden, everything started falling in place. We knew we were not going to abandon this, and that's why that the networks approach was truly, truly meant for networks such as Invest in Africa. If I talk about where we are at today and our impact, the first thing that my mind always goes to is our mindset shift. We were transformed, completely transformed in the way we think, in the way we see our network, and in the way we see our role and the role of other members within the network. We have had a great culture shift as well. Our membership has grown more than twice in number in the few years. We are now at over 5,000 members who are engaged. So if you talk about vitality, we are now within our purpose, not just being driven by Invest in Africa. Our role is purely to coordinate. We have such great reach and impact of our work because of collaborations. We have a sharper focus because one of our desires has always been to be a thought leader, to be a strong MSME brand. And today we are driving thought leadership on areas of resilient businesses and talking about disaster risk reduction. In areas of sustainable enterprises, we have been a driving force in terms of research, advocacy, capacity building for environmental, social, and governance aspects of sustainability, gender equality, and social inclusion. The greatest celebration, I would say, or validation of our work and our network has been this year, coming from 2019, where our members were largely dissatisfied, to this year winning the Safaricom Corporate Supplier of the Year award amongst 600 other companies who you can imagine are much higher in profile than Invest in Africa. But when we talk about collaboration and network vitality, this is where the addition and incremental value has been. Besides that, we have been able to attract good members in terms of what was outside of our reach before. We are working now closely with the United Nations Disaster Risk Reduction Office, and this is one of many members that we have been able to bring on board that are high profile. We have been able to retain members who have this year continued to grow their funding to us, their work to us. And through that, we have now the Kwale County government working so closely with us to digitize women and youth in Kwale County. These are examples to show a network that has come from ineffective engagement, largely dissatisfied members, a lack of understanding of members' needs. So therefore, you can say ineffective interventions. We were not doing so badly. We were doing what looked to be the norm, but the approach has not just shifted what Invest in Africa and how Invest in Africa does things. It has set a standard, and we are seeing more and more enterprise support organizations, therefore, aspiring for member satisfaction, that it is possible to understand all their needs and have interventions that are effective, to have them satisfied, to have them want to engage as part of value providers within the network. And when I talk about our impact, I get so passionate because this has not just fulfilled what Invest in Africa was aspiring for, but for myself too. As Terry, having joined as the Chief Operations Officer and today being the country manager, I feel so satisfied and very fulfilled in my work in many ways because of what the network approach has helped us to achieve and the kind of vitality that this network